Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dustin here, and today we're going to do a quick little video here, tutorial on how to change the brakes and rotors on your Silverado pickup. I know this should work anywhere between a 99 and an 06 Silverado, 07 Silverado Classic as well, but this will pretty much go for any vehicle for the most part that has disc brakes on the front anyway. So a few of the tools I've got here that are going to help me out along the way. I've got, of course, a jack stand, a jack to get the front end up. I've got a few wrenches there, some sockets would be handy, a few C-clamps, and of course I got my torque wrench down here, 4-way, and then some sockets, of course. But I'll go ahead and set this here and we'll get started on it. So of course the first thing we want to do, you want to chalk your wheels, that way you don't roll anywhere. But the first thing I'm going to do here is actually loosen up the lugs. I'm just going to do it on one side. The same process is going to apply for the other side. So let's get started. Cap off. I'm going to loosen the lugs. I'll do this for both sides, like I say. I'll get the right side. There you go. And by the way, these are 22 millimeter. Okay, now that I've got them loose, we'll go ahead and jack the vehicle up. That way I need the wheel off the ground, and then we'll take them the rest of the way off. And of course, always use jack stands. Okay, so we barely got it off the ground. I think one more pump ought to get us there. All right, very good. So we got it there. Go ahead and set my jack stand under the frame here. In case our jack fails, hopefully the jack stand will catch it. So now, let's go ahead and take these lugs off. Since they're loose, I'll just take them off with my hand. Alright, so I've got all the lugs. Set them right over here. Go ahead and take the wheel off. We'll set this right out of the way for now. Alright, let me move you guys closer so you can see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm gonna set it about right here, but the idea now is that we're gonna have to take off the brake caliper, which is this guy right here, and then what it actually mounts to, which is this frame here. That'll allow us to release the rotor. Now, if you're changing out the OEM ones, I think AC Delco actually has a few little screws in here that you actually have to pop out. So just pop those out on your way. Another thing I might mention too, whenever you're shopping for rotors, I made a mistake with these. I bought these and put them on, and they were actually too small. From my research, if you're looking at 99 through 06 anyway, Silverado, it seems like that if you have a 6-cylinder model, it's a 12-inch rotor, which is what I accidentally bought here. What I really needed for this, since it's got the 5.3 V8, is a 13-inch rotor. So I was getting only about 75% braking power on the front here. So that's why I'm changing these out. And of course my brakes are shot, so needed to do it anyway. Okay, so I just looked at it and it looks like it's a 19 millimeter on the back. Top and bottom is what it looks like. So that's what we're gonna use to actually get that off of there. And let me see if I can bring the camera in to kind of show you what I'm talking about. We've got one right here. We've also got one right here. As you guys probably noticed, I'm wearing flip-flops just for safety. Don't be dumb like me. Wear some real shoes, it's probably gonna be safer. But I'm just gonna break these loose and then we'll pull this off. Bottom one, this side. There's the top one. Looks like they're the same dimensions. Okay, so now caliper will just slide out of place, and don't just let this hang here with your brake line. Actually, gonna set it up here out of the way. You might even want to zip tie it. It's probably not a terrible idea. I'm just going to set that up out of the way. It looks like we've got 2 more bolts that are very close to where we started to remove the housing. I'll go ahead and remove the brake pads. And I'll show you guys on this side what I mean about the rotors being too small. That was my mistake after doing a little research. But you can see these brake pads aren't wearing right. It's actually got less area than up here. If I hold it, you can definitely see. So something I needed to fix anyway. So we got that off. Let's see. Let me bring you guys in here so I can show you what we're removing now. So we're going to remove this guy here. And we've also got one right here. It looks like that we're going to take off. So I'm going to remove both of those. We'll see what size socket that is. It looks like that's actually an 18 millimeters, so that's what we'll use for that. So these two guys definitely took some persuasion to get off. I had to beat on my torque wrench, which I don't really like to do. You might use a breaker bar for this, it's probably easier. But once we've got this guy off, our rotor should just come off. And mine is gonna come off nice and easy because it wasn't all that long ago whenever I actually replaced these. So mine's just gonna slide right off, just like that. Now here, guys, you might find if it's kind of rusty, it'll be froze on there. Take you a hammer or something, kind of beat on it for a while. It'll get to come off. I'm gonna come over here to my box. Got my new brake pad, my new rotors. We'll get them opened up and get this side put on. Alright, so I've got my new rotor here. Take it out of the package and we'll get it installed. Actually, this one's a little bit nicer than the one I'm replacing. It's actually got the holes where I could put those back in, so this is much more like OEM. That looks pretty good. You'll notice a considerable amount of weight difference, which I like. Very nice. Like I say, I don't know if I said it or not, but I picked these up on eBay. Brake Overstock is where I picked them up. Got these and the brake pads for like 75 bucks shipped to the house. And on top of that, it was FedEx shipping, so it was here in just a matter of time. So I was pretty happy about that. So if you guys are looking for good quality stuff, you might check them out. Pretty pleased with them. So now we're just going to do the reverse of what we just did. Take our 2 Allen bolts. We're going to put this piece back on here. I may even set you guys right over here. That might be a little bit better of an angle. Alright, so I'm just going to screw the top one back in. I'm just going to get it started, that way I can get the bottom started as well. I'm just going to get these hand tight, and then I can put them on the rest of the way with the socket. Once I got these guys broke loose, it actually came out really easy. Just breaking them loose, that was tough. Might be able to put some sort of penetrating oil on those if your guys isn't stuck there. Alright, so now I'm just going to tighten her back up. Again with our 18mm socket. I'm just going to get these as tight as I can. And I would recommend getting these fairly tight. There may be a torque spec, I don't know honestly, but you definitely don't want this coming off while you're driving, guys. Stopping is important. Okay, so I'm satisfied with that. Alright, so now we've got the rotor on there. Things are starting to look good. I'm going to grab my brake pads now. Well, actually, what we're going to do before that is inside our caliper here. Let me check, make sure you guys can see what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay, so inside our caliper here, over time when your brake pads wear down, these are going to get pushed out. So what we're going to have to do is push these back in. And you can see this one's got dual pistons in there. So just make sure you don't have your emergency brake on. I made that mistake one time and could not push them in for the life of me. So as long as your emergency brake isn't on, you should be able to push these guys in with your C-clamps. And just make sure you chock those back wheels so you don't roll anywhere. You should be good. So let me demonstrate that real quick. Going to set the clamp on this guy here. Oop. Just start turning it. It'll go in. Press in by itself. And it's not too hard to do this. I mean, you can do it just by hand. And you do have to do this or else you'll never get your new brake pads in. So this is an important step here. Okay, so there's one. Let's go ahead and get this front one. You could probably do this with one clamp, but I've got two, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. Starting to get tight now, so this gotta start pushing in. All right, so once we get this guy pushed in, he's gonna be just about flush, if not flush with the housing there. I mean, you'll feel it once it gets there. They get tight. So once we get them nice and flush, we can take these clamps off. Okay, so there's one clamp off. That's why I actually like this clamp better. It's got a little, as long as it's not tied up on something, a little button I can press to release. Pulls right out. Saves a little bit of time. Okay, so now we've got that pushed in. Let's tear open our new brake pads here. Put those on. It's the side. It's got a little indentation is going to go on the front, and it looks like this is going to go on the back side, the flat side here. So one thing I did forget to mention is these little metal brackets that came off. I'm going to go ahead and try to slide those back on if I can. Should just clip into place. It'll probably help keep the brakes from moving around as much. So I'm going to go ahead and slide those back in. There we go. Now I'll put the brake pads in. Okay, now I'll slide this down and put the bottom bolt in. Then I'll just get those hand tight. I'll put our, if I remember right, 19 millimeter socket on there. Tighten up. Once again, make sure you do get it reasonably tight. You don't want this coming off while you're driving. So we got the top, now we're just going to get the bottom. Okay, so the hard part's over. Now all we got to do is replace our wheel. Scoot everything back just a little ways. Put you guys right about here. Clean up a little bit, and then we can put our wheel back on. Alright, we'll just put these on. Before you let it down, make sure you got them on reasonably tight. As you can see, as you tighten some, kind of work your way around and make sure you've got them all. So this side maybe sit out a little bit whenever you tighten it up. Push it in, which in turn will make this side kick out a little more, so you gotta make sure you get them good. There we go. Just about there. Cool. Okay, so now we can begin the process of taking it back down. So I'm gonna take my jack stand out. I'm gonna lower it very carefully and slowly. Move that up. Now let's get our torque wrench. And I'm gonna put my, what do we say it was? I think it's 22 millimeter socket on there. We're gonna torque this guy down. You might check the manual, because I honestly can't think off the top of my head what it's supposed to be torqued down to, but I do about 125 pounds. And I haven't had much trouble out of them. Okay, so we're ready to torque it down. And of course you don't do this in a literal circle. You want to start on one, go until your wrench pops. There we go. Then skip one, go to the next one. Basically, do the opposite side until you get all 6 of them. They'll tighten down better that way. Cool, so that's the last one. I just gotta put my center cap back on. Just get these guys hand tight. And just like that, we've got the job done. That wasn't too bad. Take you guys, well, I'd say, I plan on 45 minutes to an hour. You might be quicker than me. I was having to deal with the camera and gathering stuff up and whatnot. But we got one side done. Just do the same to the opposite side and you'll have them ready to go. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And you know, I'm not a professional mechanic by any means, but I thought this might help some of you guys out there. And thanks for watching.